The magic is in the prompt with ChatGPT. Think about what you put into a mathematics problem. Maybe it's an equation, x plus 2 equals 5. Well, whatever you put into x should give you what you put into the sum of this problem. Well, ChatGPT is the same way. The prompt that you put in, the input that you give it, will give you what you want or what you're expecting to come out of it. But I want to tell you something about ChatGPT. It is like talking to a 5-year-old that has all kinds of knowledge. So for those of you that ever had children that were 5 years old, or you're a kindergarten teacher, you have children that come to you and they just start talking to you about everything. And I mean, it may not even make sense sometimes, but they talk to you about it because it's something that they learned. Well, ChatGPT sometimes will go and grab information that they think is good for you, whatever you're asking it to do, put it together, and you're like, wow, it's a great write-up, but it doesn't make sense. And I'll give you an example. If you haven't heard this before, I asked it to write me a peer-reviewed article based on my own dissertation, and the peer-reviewed article was very, very organized, but it wasn't what I was expecting. It just had nothing to do with the data that was the output of what I was looking for from my dissertation. So the analysis, not there at all, but it was a good article. Really wasn't peer reviewed, except maybe a literature review of some things that I wrote about in my literature review. So think about what you want to put into ChatGPT. So the prompt, you can ask it to do something simple like, what is 1 plus 2? It'll tell you the answer. Or you can ask it to write you an assessment for 2-digit integers. You can ask it to write you a lesson plan if you're a teacher. Maybe you want to respond in email, and you know that when you respond to an email, you get really worked up and you don't want to sound or make it seem like you're coming across as angry. So you can ask ChatGPT to write you a response to an email that you got, so it doesn't feel like it's being antagonistic. You can ask ChatGPT to create a short speech for you, and then you can add your voice to the speech, meaning, oh, that's a good speech, but not necessarily how I would say it. So you can get creative with what ChatGPT is asking you to do. Now, if you write an essay, let's say you have a 7th, 8th, or 9th grader that's writing an essay on a book, maybe it's on Shakespeare, maybe it's on Romeo and Juliet, maybe it's on their favorite novel, maybe it's on A Wrinkle in Time, and you ask them to talk about the protagonist, the antagonist, and you want to know what is happening. And you can ask ChatGPT to look for specific things in their write-up and then give you a grade or grade it for efficiency, effectiveness, and does it actually do what you wanted it to do with whatever rubric you gave the students. The sky's the limit when it comes to ChatGPT, but remember, if it gives you an output and you're like, I didn't really want that, you have 2 things you can do. Stop asking it, or you can say, that's really not what I meant, type it up. This is really what I was looking for. So it's kind of like if you're an educator or a principal and you're working with teachers and you're really trying to get something out of them, you have to keep asking it maybe through a statement or another question. And then sooner or later, you'll get the output that you want. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because typically people just stop them. No, it's not for me. Keep teaching it and asking it questions so it can learn along with you. It's kind of fun to see what ChatGPT can do for you. Now, if you're a science educator and you know in the state of California, for example, that we use the next generation science standards, and we have 4 domains. One of those domains is physical science. Another one is chemical or biological science. So maybe you grab one of the next generation science standards. Maybe you grab the evidence statement, meaning it wants to know what phenomenon you're working on. You can ask it to create you a lesson plan, see what it says, and then you can say, now give me an activity that will allow students to learn what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're going to show you that they've learned this new standard. And you can say, now write me a lesson plan for 2 or 3 weeks. Write me a capstone project that'll go along with this standard. Now, you might even need to say, now give me the materials that goes along with it. Because sometimes you're going to have to maybe either purchase materials, maybe you already have materials. You can ask ChatGPT, create me a lesson for this science standard using the materials that I already have, and then ask it to, put in the materials that you already have. And that's kind of a simple way to look at it. But if you have children and they're working on an assignment and you do not know trigonometry, maybe you don't even know calculus, but you want to help your children with their homework. Remember, as a teacher and as a parent, specifically as a parent, you don't have to know how to do calculus to help your children. You just need to know how to ask the right questions. And ChatGPT can teach you that. If I'm helping my daughter or son work on this problem in calculus, as a parent, how can I help them be successful? See what ChatGPT offers you. The other thing you can do is you can say, can you give me the introduction to whatever this problem is so that I can help my child? And then have your child learn with you. What you don't want your children to do is take the information, the answer, and just put it there. You want ChatGPT to help to scribe the problem so that your student learns it. So you can say, teach me all of the steps for this problem, especially if you're looking at the sum of an equation, meaning x plus y equals something, or maybe you are looking at, in science, you're looking at a chemical equation and you're trying to figure out how to explain it. And it's really difficult for you to talk about subscripts and superscripts, meaning like H2O, the 2 is a subscript because it's below sub. And then maybe there's a coefficient in front of H2O, like 2H2O. You can ask it, explain what this means so that I can help my student. Explain, if you're the student, explain what this means and tell me every step of this chemical equation so that I can learn with you. Because ChatGPT can be the peer-to-peer conversation that your children may not be getting at home or at school. And maybe they're ill one day and they don't have the ability to talk to someone to go through the problems with them. They can ask ChatGPT. It's a great resource. It shouldn't be the resource that you use to do your homework. It should be helping you while you do your homework. Maybe you need an outline for a science fair project. You know what you want to do it on. You know what research you want to look up. You can ask it, give me some research for a 10th grade level, looking at the structure of matter when looking at icebergs, whatever that is, in the Arctic, in Antarctica, something like that. And then it'll give you some research. Now give me some research on the animals that live in very cold waters. It'll give you that. Now put that in APA style and give me the articles that I can read later. Grab that. Now give me a science experiment based on the information that I gave you. Now, and I'm saying this in layman's terms because I'm assuming that a 10th grader wouldn't know all the knowledge about the structure of matter. Maybe they do. So they can put in very specific language to have ChatGPT give them the output that they want and then read through it. If it doesn't sound right, then ask it another question. The articles that it gives you, if you're a student, teacher, or parent, make sure you read it because sometimes ChatGPT is giving out APA peer-reviewed article citations and they don't exist. So you do need to go and find those articles. You can go to the ERIC system on a university library. You can go to your school library and get that, or the local library. Typically, you can find it online and download the PDF for free if you are a member of a library in your area, but you do want to do the research and look into it. ChatGPT can give us the ability to learn at a much faster pace. Now, I know many of you are thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to take away the learning. I'm going to disagree slightly. Now, if you're asking ChatGPT to write your paper for you and you turn it in, yes, ChatGPT and all the people the engineers that created the algorithm and pulled all that data, yeah, they get the credit for that. But if you ask it to give you an outline or give you an example of a paper, and then you take this paper and you learn from it and you create your own work, yes, that is helping you, because I do believe that it's nice to see what we call exemplars. See what great writing looks like. That's how we learn how to write. That's how we learn how to write books. We read other people's books and we love the reading style, the writing style, and we can talk about it. We can actually write something from our own voice. So don't let it scare you. Yes, I do think as educators, if you're in the education arena or principals or leaders in school districts, we need to learn with it so that we can teach our own children, our students, how to use it as a resource and not to use it as a way of not allowing you to learn. So have fun with ChatGPT. Go ahead and subscribe, turn on the bell, and go to some of my other videos where I actually show you how to use ChatGPT. This is a ChatGPT is generative pre-trained transformer. So it generates and transforms information that's already out on the World Wide Web, the internet, so that it can help you. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and don't forget to subscribe.